Hola y buenos dias. Damon here. In this video, I'm going to talk about structuring and outlining compare and contrast essays, specifically a point-by-point compare and contrast essay. But I will say more about what that means in a minute. Just so you know, as my examples in this movie for my compare and contrast essay, I'm going to be comparing these two paintings. This one here is by Salvador Dali. It's called Persistence of Memory. It's pretty famous. And then I have another one here by Picasso called Mediterranean Landscape. So moving on, point-by-point compare and contrast essay. What this means is that I'm going to have a few different paragraphs, a few different body paragraphs, and each one is going to talk about an area of comparison between the two paintings. In this case, I'm going to have 3 body paragraphs, so I'll discuss 3 different points. To give you an example, filling in this outline, my first point in my first body paragraph, I'm going to talk about perspective and the way that Dali and Picasso each use perspective in their paintings. And then I will talk about how they each use shapes. And then I will talk about their subject matter. I could do another one if I wanted to. I could talk about color. Those tend to be the most important areas of art for talking about art. Perspective, shape, color, subject matter. Anyway, moving on. Going to go into more detail. So we'll look at what I'll do in my intro more. This is not a complete introductory paragraph. It's just one sentence, but it's an example of what I might use as a thesis statement in my introduction paragraph. I'll read it for you. 2 paintings, The Persistence of Memory by Dali and Mediterranean Landscape by Picasso, each demonstrate these artists' very different styles. So with this intro, with this thesis statement, I am telling the reader what I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be telling them what I want them to go home with, what I want them to learn, which is how these 2 paintings are examples of each artist's different style. So let's move on to my next paragraph, which is my first body paragraph, where I will talk about perspective. Again, it's just one sentence. This is maybe the main idea or the topic sentence. Actually, it wouldn't be a good topic sentence. It needs more context, but it is the main idea of the paragraph. So, like I said, it's not the complete paragraph, but this is just an outline. So this tells me my main idea. It tells me what I have to say more about when I talk about perspectives. I'll read it for you. Each of these paintings is a landscape, but Dali's painting has a deep perspective, while Picasso's painting has a flat perspective. So in one sentence, I talk about the perspective in each artist. This is what makes it point by point. The paragraph is not focused on either Dali or Picasso. It is focused on perspective. My next paragraph, I will talk about shapes. So, again, I just have one sentence here. I'll read it aloud for you. Picasso's painting looks like it is made from many smaller shapes, almost like a mosaic. Whereas the objects in Dali's paintings are made up of more realistic or naturalistic shapes. Next, subject matter. This one's a little bit longer. I wrote a few sentences. I still wouldn't call this a complete paragraph, but it does tell me my main idea. It's missing more specific discussion of my paintings, my particular 2 paintings, but it's the main idea. So I'll read this one aloud. Even though Dali's style shares a lot with classical painters like Raphael regarding shape and color, His subject matter is bizarre and unsettling. This combination of strange and real is why Dali is called surreal. Conversely, Picasso liked to paint mundane objects and regular people, but in an unusual style that looks nothing like reality. His work is not surreal. So I could say more. I could talk specifically about in these paintings how Picasso's painting shows this kind of everyday scene, a town, boats, people, nothing unusual in this painting. It's just a strange style. Whereas Dali, it's very strange. It's hard to say what this painting is really of. And it is a landscape. Each of these paintings is a landscape, but Dali's got this strange creature here and melting clocks. You would never see this in real life, but you would see this something like this Picasso painting in real life. So that's what I'm talking about with subject matter. Lastly, you would have a conclusion. Again, I just have one sentence here. I would want to say more, but in my little sentence here, I try to reiterate my main point, which is that Picasso and Dali had very different styles. But then I kind of add this other little nice idea to tie it together. These paintings show us how little Picasso and Dali had in common as artists, but nobody can deny that many artists today are influenced by one or both of them. So I just try to add a little thought at the end there to tie everything together and just remind the reader of why Picasso and Dali are important, why they are interesting. So I hope that was helpful. That was, I don't know how many minutes that was, but that was a point-by-point compare and contrast essay outline. With this outline, I would feel pretty comfortable writing a complete essay about each of these topics, each of these points, excuse me. I only have one sentence here, but I could easily write a few more sentences to talk about these things in more detail, and then I can tie them all together in my conclusion. And so the other type of compare-contrast essay would be a block compare-contrast essay, also called a subject-by-subject essay. In that kind of essay, you would have you would not talk about each artist in the same paragraph. You would talk about Picasso all in one paragraph or all in a few paragraphs, and Dali all in one paragraph or in a few paragraphs. But I think that's a little more boring. I like this point-by-point essay. So I hope that was helpful, and have a good day. Thanks.